Hello, and welcome to the Middle East Made Simple. Today we're going to be discussing
that the United States is not and never will be at war with Islam. Islam teaches peace. Muslims the world over aspire to live with dignity and a sense of justice.
Thanks, Obama. But how can this, that, and these acts be committed in the name of Islam if Islam truly is a religion that teaches peace? Well, as you can imagine, the answer is quite complicated, but I'm going to do my best to make it simple. That's why you're here after all. This is a tree of Islamic practices. As you can see, there are many branches and divides. Which makes sense if you think about it. Islam has an extremely diverse presence around the world. With this diversity comes a diversity of interpretation, with some seeking more violent means to spread Islam, and others finding internal prosperity and relying on tolerance. Ibadi Islam falls under the Khawarij branch. Now, this statement is much more controversial than it might seem. Tracing the lineage of one of the most tolerant practices of Islam to the Khawarijis, who are known for being ancient hardline extremists, can be offensive. Today, scholars have not come to a definitive conclusion, but the common belief is that the reason why Ibadi Islam survived was because of its divergence from the Khawarij branch. The reason why Ibadi Islam was created in the first place was to reject the violence that the Khawarijis endorsed. Unlike many other nations in the Middle East, Oman has largely avoided recent conflict, with the exception of the Gulf War. This is because the nation historically remained out of Middle Eastern politics. There are many things that contribute to the tolerance of the Ibadis, and by extension, the people of Oman. Because the majority of the followers have historically been in Oman, and Oman relies heavily on international trade, the Islamic leaders of Ibadi Islam, or imams, are elected by the community, making them accountable for their actions. This limited democratic tradition of electing religious leaders is also a key component in the tolerance and acceptance of other religions in Oman. It's important to emphasize the difference between tolerance and acceptance. The Ibad Muslims are willing to live side by side with other religious groups, but they maintain the position that their religion is superior to others. In order for a place of worship of another religion to be built, the Sultan of Oman must directly donate the land for the construction of the building. Sufi Islam is not a sect of Islam, but a style of worship that, like Ibadi Islam, is known for not being violent. Sufis' practice focuses inward, with the personal relationship between them and God. One of the ways this is done is through meditation. This inward personal relationship with God does not require violent action in order to spread Islam. In fact, material goods and being a pacifist is a key aspect of Sufi Islam. Because of the eccentricness associated with Sufi Islam, they're often targeted by extremist groups. An attack killing more than 80 people occurred at a Sufi place of worship by a group tied with the Islamic State. Only 5% of the global Muslim population are Sufi, with a significant minority presence in Turkey. This significant minority presence in Turkey has greatly influenced Muslim culture in Turkey. For example, when you see the men in skirts twirling, that comes from Sufi Islam. It's a mystic tradition, as opposed to a legalist tradition. But I don't want to force on you a rosy picture. It's important when discussing these religious groups to emphasize that while the organizations are more tolerant, they do not maintain Western values, and they enforce traditional gender roles. Now that I've covered two Islamic practices that are known for their tolerance of other religions, in my next video, I'm going to be discussing something a little bit more controversial. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I look forward to engaging with you in the comments section.